What's up, tea drinkers? Who's ready to spill? Welcome to The Tea with KG, hosted by your girl, Kaylee Grace. Here you'll find your weekly boost of real talk mixed with laughter, healing, and all of those vulnerable, messy moments in between. The Tea with KG is a safe space for you to show up exactly as you are. We are here to share real-life stories from around the globe and be a community of love, joy, and celebrating life. This is a real deal show, so there will be coarse language and sensitive topics discussed. The most beautiful stories oftentimes emerge from the darkest of places, and we're here to explore it all. There's room for everyone at this tea time, so grab your drink of choice, spark it up, or just relax and soak it up. Cheers, and let's spill. Here we are, tea drinkers, episode 1. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. I can't believe this moment is finally here. It's the first episode, so I may fuck up my words a little bit. There will definitely be no perfection to be found here, but that's what happens when we start something new, right? So, episode 1, we are talking about fear. How many times has fear held you back? For me, more times than I can count, and this is a prime example right here. I held back from hitting this record button for so long. It's not even funny. And it just even today, trying to record this, I sat down, I was all excited. I was like, okay, awesome. I'm going to hit the record. And then the garbage truck came and picked up everything. Super loud. I live in Vancouver, so it gets loud from time to time here. And then I was like, all right, take 2. Let's try this again. And then someone's car alarm started going off. I was like, are you serious? I was like, okay, universe, what are you doing right now? But clearly it was like, let's just throw you a couple more tests to see if you're really ready to hit record. But I'm like, here I am. We're doing this. It's so funny to me too, because I don't physically feel fear about this, but it's all around me. And I've said since January 2022, I feel like something finally flipped within me. And I literally feel like I have blinders on. And on either side of those blinders, it's like the most terrifying place you can ever imagine, with all of this darkness and like evil and all these things. And it's the fear. And it's like threatening at all times to come over my blinders and be like, hey girl, we're here. And I'm like, I see you, fear. I see you. But guess what? You're not getting in my way. We are doing this, and that's just the tea. That's just what's up. So finally hitting record, huge deal for me. And I know for me, this holding back is definitely related to self-worth and like a scarcity mindset. And it's still funny because when I was younger, I was unstoppable. Like if I put my mind to something like a project or something with school or any career stuff, I was like above and beyond. Let's do this. I was excited. I'm the type of person too. Like if I like something, I'm very balls to the wall, passionate about it. Let's go. If I don't like something, not so much. But with this is something I've always dreamt of doing, a podcast and like making an impact and putting myself out there and just, helping others feel not alone. And, if you can help someone with your day, then to me, you're doing it right. So for me, it's been really challenging to not be hard on myself, because naturally I'm very hard on myself all the time. I don't know if anyone can relate, but I just kept beating myself up all the time at this point in my life, because I would look back at my younger self and be like, oh my God, like I would just go for it. I was always doing something, always had a million projects on the go, working, extracurricular stuff. I was very active, always in everything. And I somehow made it work. And it's just really hard sometimes to accept that when you're not in that place anymore. And I kept looking back and I'm like, girl, why are you looking back? You're not that girl anymore. And thank God for that. You've grown, you've evolved in so many different ways. And in my adult life, I experienced some pretty traumatic events, and they really, really fucked with me. Like, it took a long time for me to unpack a lot of that trauma and all of the things that came with it, because again, my whole life too, naturally, I'm a glass half full kind of person. I've always been bubbly and optimistic about life. Even when things are tough, I'm like, okay, well, it will get better. Like, there was a reason for this. And in my later adult life, experienced some things that'll be for another episode. And it really affected me in every part of my life. But I'm also very thankful for those experiences, because it's what really made me deep dive into my healing journey, and I wouldn't have it any other way. As challenging and painful as a healing journey is, which I'm sure anyone who's gone through that, you can attest to it as well. It'll definitely have you crying on the floor at times. It'll have you very angry at times. It'll have you confused. You'll be like, what is this? Or you'll think you have healed from something, and then it will bubble up again. You're like, oh, okay. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel that way. And with this particular fear of, holding myself back when it comes to like my career and that sort of thing. It's so interesting because since I've just moved to Vancouver oh my God, when was it? I feel like I have no concept of time. 2020, the end of 2020. Yes, during the pandemic. Moved across the country from New Brunswick. That's in East Coast Canada for anyone who is listening and doesn't know where that is, because sometimes people are like, what? New Brunswick? Where's that? East Coast Canadian province. So I drove across the country with my puppy. And some people will be like, what? Why are you talking about fear? That's not a very fearful thing to do. That is very brave. But with that part of my life, I've always been brave. Like, I moved to Australia after university by myself. I was fine. I was like, I got this. So that type of thing, when I know I need to do something or be somewhere, my soul feels called somewhere, I just go for it. But like I'm saying, when it comes to career, I know I've been holding back and I haven't been putting myself out there, and I'm very creative and I know I want to make an impact on this world, and it's just like I can't keep doing what I'm doing. So in other areas of life since moving here, I've definitely grown, in the relationship part of my life, the personal part of my life, just a lot of healing and a lot of time alone healing, taking that time to really dive deep and look at those wounds and be like, all right, what's going on here? So even with all of that going on, I still felt like I wasn't putting my all into the extra stuff I want to do, because like I have a vision for my life, for what my goals and stuff are. And I wasn't applying myself. I wasn't doing the things you need to do to get where you want to be. I was like, I don't know if I was just hoping for something magical to happen or some opportunity to just land at my feet, but that's not the way life works. And I am a firm believer in divine timing as well. I don't believe that we are given anything we can't handle, or, I don't believe we stay places too long, even if it feels like that at the time. Sometimes you stay in relationships too long and you're like, oh, it's not working, but you stay and blah, blah, blah. There's things like that. But at the end of the day, whenever you release from different situations, whether it be relationship, job, friendships, whatever, it's all at the time it's supposed to happen. I'm not very patient with myself in certain ways either, so I have a hard time with that. I'm like, no, I want to be better now. I want this now. But I also know that's just not how it works. You got to take a step back, enjoy the process. Well, it might not be always enjoyable, but you have to be patient. You have to let go. You just have to trust that it's going to work out however it's meant to, even if it's not the way you thought it was going to look. So having all that knowledge in me, I'm like, all right, why can't I translate that over to my extra stuff? And like I was saying before, I don't know what happened in 2022, and it's not a New Year's resolution thing. I'm not into that. I think we should live with intention every day of our life, not just the first of each year. That's just not how I look at it. And resolution, to me, that word, I don't know, it has to be that word. It just feels so like short term, or like not like bettering yourself. It's like a quick fix. And I'm nothing against it, because resolutions work for a lot of people. So we're not saying that. I'm just saying I like to think of it as like New Year's intentions, but they're intentions you implement for your life, not for just a month. So yeah, it wasn't anything like that. I took a lot of time to rest and to not even let my brain think about, oh, you should, well, of course, there's always that voice, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. But I was like, no, I'm going to just take this time. And something flipped in my brain, and I wish I could explain what it was, but it was like, all right, let's do this. Nobody's going to do it for you. Hit the record button, learn how to do it. You got this. Because I had the equipment, I just wasn't doing it. I wasn't hitting record because I was afraid. I was scared. I was like, I've experienced burnout before, and it is an awful thing. Please take care of yourself because it's not worth it. Recovering from burnout is a very long, or it was for me anyway, a very long process. And I was terrified of burning out again because I had been doing other businesses and stuff on the side with my full-time job, and I burnt out hard, and it really, really, really destroyed me inside. So I know I've held back because I'm terrified of doing that again. And don't get me wrong, my mental health is not in the same place it was at that time. It is so much better. Everything is just better in every part of my life. So I think that's why it's taken this long for that part of my life to be okay too. So yeah, sorry. One thing you'll also learn about me is sometimes I start talking and going on tangents, and then my brain just stops for a second and I'm like, oh, wait, what was I talking about? So that's probably going to happen from time to time on this podcast. So if you hear a pause or if I have to stop for a second, that's why. But yeah, with overwhelm and being burnt out in the past, it definitely had like a stall on me, not stall, that might not be the right word, but I was stuck. I was stagnant. That's the word I'm looking for, stagnant. I felt stagnant in that area with career, extra projects. I have that entrepreneurial spirit. That's always kind of what I've envisioned for my life, is doing my own thing. So this is kind of we're dipping our toes in, people. This is where it is. So when January 2022 hit, I knew what I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to learn how to be the podcast host. I'm going to be my own producer. I'm going to be the editor, the graphic designer, everything. So it's a labor of love, 100%. And I still can't believe I'm recording this episode right now. And I'm so excited about it, but it's also still so terrifying because, when you put yourself out there, no matter what you do, whether it be good or bad, there's going to be people judge you. It's unfortunate, but it's true. People look at you from where they're at in life through the lens, and they'll have their own perceptions on you based on their own personal experiences with life. So that's another terrifying thing, putting myself out there with this, is being vulnerable and sharing parts of my story that aren't so glamorous, they're not so sparkly, and having people judge you based on that it's a scary thing. But I also feel that when you feel called to do something so strongly, you can't hold back. Like, you have to let them have it, honey. So yeah, even with that being said, I just know that the positive that this is going to have is going to outweigh the negative. So I'm just super excited about all of that. Some things that have helped me with fear, obviously, lots of therapy. I know I mentioned some trauma that's happened in life. Again, that will be for another episode. But personal development is huge. If you're looking for ways to improve your life, and, maybe therapy's not something you're looking into right now, obviously exercise. I'm all about keeping it very natural too, eat right, hydrate, exercise, make sure you're getting sleep. Those are kind of the basics in life, right? But if you're looking for something a little extra just to kind of help you on your way, look for books. Even if you're not a reader, you can do audio or listen to podcasts, do something for yourself, which I'm sure you do since you are finding yourself here today. But yeah, so personal development books really, really helped me a lot with different things. And, trials and tribulations of life, like I mentioned before too, I have a different side business and went through so much with that, good and bad. But I also think of bad as not a negative thing. You learn, right? You're always learning. And I know I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now without that business. So I'm very, very, very grateful for it. Here's another brain stop. We'll let ourselves kind of absorb everything that we've been chatting about thus far. So fear can translate into every part of your life. But the key is sometimes you just have to say, you know what, fuck you, I'm doing this and you're not going to stop me. You're going to be present. I know you're going to be there. That's fine. But I'm running the show, not you. It's a big thing with a lot of parts of ourselves and the human experience with emotion, with everything like that. It can be very strong. I'm very empathic. I feel things very strongly within myself, with others. So for me, it can be challenging for certain feelings to not run the show. And for years, I had other, emotions and negative inner dialogue running my life, not me. And I'm like, no, this is not how it works. This is not the tea, honey. I'm in charge. So this is the year 2022. I feel like 2022 is a magical year for a lot of people in my life anyway. They're going after their goals. They've just transitioned their life in just huge, amazing, beautiful ways. And I'm really excited for some of our future episodes. We'll be having some guest speakers and it'll just be really, really cool. So I think we're gonna stop here for today. That's where we're gonna call it tea time. I'm so happy that you've tuned in with me for this very first episode. I know it wasn't perfect, but that's the point of life. Perfect is boring. As Mama Ru, I don't know if anyone's a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, but I certainly am. As she says, perfect is boring. Nobody wants perfect. We want to see the real deal. We want to know who you are. We want to get in there. And it's true because I personally love learning about people and understanding them and where they come from. What's your story? Tell me your story. Like, I love hearing people's stories because we're all so interesting. You can connect with people on similar things, or you can just, listen to things you've never experienced, but you can learn from it. So I just think it's really cool. And yeah, so super happy to be here. Episode 1 is in the books. I hope this inspires you to go and do the thing that you feel called to do. Even if you are shaking in your boots and you're terrified, like I am. Not going to say like I was, like I am. I am still terrified, but here we are. We're doing it. So if anything, I hope this episode can give you a little extra sparkle in your step and just give you the courage to just go out there and go for it, no matter what it is. If it's a dream job, if you want to start your own podcast, YouTube, you want to do social multi-level marketing, like whatever it is you want to do. You want to be a photographer, you want to be a model, actress. It doesn't matter. Whatever speaks to you, don't stand in your own way, because I stood in my own way for a really long time. And I mean, like we said, we know everything happens as and when it should. The point is, we're here now. But I just really hope that this gives you a little extra, So we're going to call that tea time. Everybody, thank you so much for all of your beautiful energy. Wishing you love and light as you take on your day, night, whatever hour it is, wherever you are. And I can't wait for episode 2.